And happy Tuesday to you. Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You've got the producer. You have Drive Safe Dave sporting that. You know what? I dig the white collared shirt. Normally you struggle with it, but let me tell you something. You're pulling it off today, sir. Good job.
Wife dressed me this morning.
You know what? Kudos to you, Mrs. Dover, for taking care of this man. You know what? And welcome to you from Sir Rick as well. We're going to hop into it, Dave, because we do have a interview coming today. There's a doctor in the house, folks.
Doctor in the house, going to help us be a little bit healthier. Are
we doing some yoga? Are we going to do some stretching today?
I got Warrior 1 already set up. I'm ready to do that. I got Warrior 2, Warrior 2.
If you can hear us right now, I think we need to get some, we need to get some exercise in during the first part, and then we won't be able to talk after that.
Whoa, slow down a little bit. Let's not overdo it this morning. I haven't had my blood pressure medicine.
Hey, so we're gonna jump into a big subject here, Dave, and it's one that we've been speaking about for a little while. It's that price of the diesel for the independent contractor, how it's affecting them. And Dave, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and all of a sudden it came to me the additional challenges of the price of fuel. Now I know Biden's right now talking about possibly releasing some of those reserves, especially for that Northeast, and we will have in studio next Wednesday our Loves representative talking about the shortages across here. I did talk to Loves yesterday. He'll be here in person, Dave.
Mr. Jernigan.
Yes, Mr. Jernigan will be here. But let's just talk a little bit about that, how it affects the independent contractor. And now, Dave, what I'm talking about, it's not just the one truck operator. This is also affecting the 30 and 40 truck operator. A little different. And I haven't given that much thought yet, but Dave, watch this for a second. Now, bear with this screen for a second. But we're at $5.59, $5.60 a gallon today. Okay, that's the diesel price. We know how that affects our pocketbook. But Dave, think about this for a second. Think about the independent the fleet, the 50 truck fleet out there that has a credit limit set either on their credit card, with the pilot, with the Flying J, with whoever they're buying fuel from. And I'm going to show you problem number 2 that we're experiencing right now. Dave, if you have a $15,000 credit line as a company, right, and maybe you run 5 trucks, and maybe that's your Discover card, maybe it's your American Express, maybe it's just your Citibank, whatever that credit card is, you've got a $15,000 limit on it that you try to use for fuel. Dave, at 2,500 miles at 6.75 miles per gallon, we're utilizing 371 gallons a truck, period, per week. Every truck is using 371 gallons. Now, Dave, back when fuel was $3.85, I was able to spend about $6,188 per truck and be just fine on my fuel. So if I had 2 trucks, Dave, I could run this all day, pay my credit card, and next month have that fuel available for my driver out there in the other truck. And this is just 2 trucks, okay? Think about, the driver, the fleets that have 30 trucks, 40 trucks, 50 trucks. Today at $5.60, I'm spending $2,077 a week or $9,000 a month. Dave, right now, if I'm that same 2 truck operator, I'm out of credit.
Yep.
I'm out of credit, so now what do I have to do, Dave? I'm still going to run that truck, and I'm making less money. We know that, right? So how am I going to get money to pay that?
You're going to take less for yourself, and you're going to pay less for yourself.
What else?
Or you'll pay that credit card twice a month, or you'll pay into it twice if you can.
Yeah, that cash flow is going to go.
Cash flow is going to go down.
How do you other ways that these fleets? The 2 truck, the 20 truck, the 30 truck, the 50 truck operator, a lot of them, to get that cash flow, they got to quick pay. They've got to go to a factory.
Which is less money.
Now, all of a sudden, Dave, because of this problem right here, I've got to take more quick pay. Now, I'm still able to make my credit card payment, but all of a sudden, I'm paying more. I'm losing even more money today because of the quick pay fees.
And just so you know, even if you increase your credit or you increase your credit, you're paying more on the rollover because you're paying more interest a month.
Yeah, I mean, this fuel
it's crazy.
I'm telling you, it's hurting the independent. I'm going to quit saying that. It's hurting the small fleet more than it ever has before. Now, listen, it's hurting everybody, the big trucking company as well. But it's a different kind of hurt than what that 50 and less truck fleet has today. The credit limits that they're running up against are real.
Yeah.
Dave, they're going to, we're hearing about it. And I heard about it for the first time yesterday, 3 different times. And it didn't make sense to me at first. I don't know why I didn't think about it. Then all of a sudden you forget that when you were a 20 truck operator, that you have a credit limit.
Yep.
There's only X amount you'll be able to
5 truck operator.
Yeah, you got a limit on
Absolutely.
that. Oftentimes, again, it's your own personal credit card. But if you're running again with a Pilot Flying J or somebody like that, they're going to give you a limit.
Yep.
And that limit, Dave, is getting hit. It's 70% higher today for fuel than it was 2 months ago.
Yep. Making it really hard. And you quit paying it, you're taking less money to get this paid so that you can run more miles. And that money you need.
You absolutely have to have it. And let me tell you one more thing. To me also, it seems as simple as this. It's as simple as going to your bank or going to the fuel company and say, hey, you know what? Obvious fuel's higher. I need to raise my limit.
Credit limit.
And so you go from 15 to 30,000, unless you don't have your financials ready, unless the money that you're doing in that first quarter that right now doesn't justify it, unless your entire customer base is broker. I'm telling you, they can. Your fuel place knows that. They can see by the amount of loads you're factoring, especially if you're factoring with them. Dave, just getting a simple credit increase, it may not be the answer. It may not even be possible.
Yeah, it'll be very, very hard. I'll tell you that. Not only that, and if you increase your credit, you tend to have an opportunity to roll over debt, right? And when you roll over debt, there's no telling what your percentage rate's going to be, and take an even bigger bite of this money that you're already biting into it. Now you have an opportunity to bite into it even more if you increase it to 30,000, right? You roll. Let's say you roll over 10,000 into the next month. You're going to pay interest on that 10,000, and it's going to hurt.
And the rates today, it's important again to keep stressing that, are not the same. The rates are going down. Now they went up last week. We know that's because not as many trucks ran last week. They're going to get back to that 280 and move their way to 265. And as long as diesel stays where it is, you, the independent, you, the fleet, the smaller fleet, you're going to have some troubles. Start looking at your credit limit. Start getting that figured out, Dave.
Yeah, like you said, I'll tell you what, preparing your financials in order to go do that is
big, man.
It's huge in order to know where you stand and where you need to be and to forecast a better plan, 100%.
Yeah, so make sure you're doing that. Again, I'm going to say this, if you have questions, we can direct you to the right place. We know people. This guy knows people as well.
I know a guy.
So listen, email us at info@bcblive.tv. Email me personally, rick.larkin@bcblive.tv. Give me your thoughts, your questions, your concerns. Do you believe in what I'm saying? And if you don't, I'm going to say, I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know what? You are going to run against that credit limit, and that's going to create more problems for that small fleet. We're coming back. We have Dr. Mark Manera on Drive Safe, Dave. He's an exercise. Can we call him an exercise junkie, a doctor of
guru?
Exercise?
We like a guru. Yeah, we're going to call him a guru. We're not going to call him a junkie. I think that's probably
is that not the right word?
Inappropriate.
All right, so here we go. We're going to take a quick break, and before we go, listen, we do a big. We encourage you to go out and make sure you look like this. To make sure that you maybe not the body, but the look. You've got to be seen out there on the road. You've got to be seen in case you break down. Whether you're in the parking lot, Dave, walking at the fuel island, walking to your terminal, walking outside, you've got to make sure that the pedestrians, that those driving cars, that everybody sees you. And Dave, what better way than this?
There really isn't a better way, and I'm telling you right now, and there are many times that when you get out of the truck, you need to just have a good habit of putting it on, jumping out. It doesn't matter where you are, especially on the side of the road, out on the truck stop, out on the shipping yard. Doesn't matter where you are. Make it a good habit of being seen and being well seen, because we don't want you to run over. We don't want you hit. We want you safe. And there's no better way to be safe than to be seen.
All right. Quick break, and we'll be right back.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility Pro Wear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with a Teflon fabric protector, Utility Pro Wear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityprowear.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. You know what? There you go, sir. Now you know what it is here.
Boom!
We're always ready. You know what? It's not like we don't have 45 or 50 seconds.
I just want to show off my button pushing abilities. I just want to show off.
What? It was a little bit stretching too, right? We wanted to see Drive Safe Dave stretch, and what a better time than to bring in Dr. Mark Manera to witness that. And I need to be graded. Can you grade Drive Safe Dave on that stretchability right there?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, baby. That's the best score I've had in years.
I've not been described as a junkie before on national podcast stuff. I go with coach more than guru or junkie, but whatever you want to describe me as.
We'll go. You know what? Yeah, you're a doctor. I mean, let's just give you the respect that you deserve. Doctor, junkie. There's a difference on that. So yeah. So here we go, doctor. We're going to talk about this. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing out there for the trucking industry.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and I'm also the founder and CEO of the Trucking Fitness Company. And we really specialize in exercise, nutrition, and accountability coaching for drivers, and then other people within the supply chain as well.
Did you and how did you, Mark? Tell us some more about why you saw a need for that in this industry. I mean, really, you didn't just jump out. You saw a need. Tell us how you got started there.
Yeah, so I was working in a physical therapy clinic. I'm home base for me is St. Louis, so I was in southern Missouri and working in a physical therapy clinic, and I was working with drivers firsthand and honestly saw the struggle. And for a lot of the drivers that I was working with, their health was one of the bottom for underlying reasons why they were in the clinic in the first place. And I really was just inspired by a couple of those drivers that I worked with, and I said, hey, someone needs to do this. And I said, why can't I? So I jumped in and I started the Trucking Fitness Company.
Yeah, 1 out of 7 drivers, they say, have type 2 diabetes, and truck drivers are 11 more times likely to die on the job than average profession as well. Doctor, when we see the drivers out there today, and that's who we talk to, it's these drivers, how do we keep them healthy? I mean, let's face it, they're driving all day. Next to them is not going to be a thing of grapes. It's going to be some chips. It's going to be something easy to reach in, something that can maybe even make me feel like it's keeping me awake. How do you change that habit?
Yeah, well, grapes can be sitting next to you. You just have to decide to put them there. But what I will say is I think that a lot of drivers have this all or nothing mindset. So I look at it like a light switch. You got to flip it. You flip it on and you're the healthiest person in the world, or you flip it off and you don't care. You're calling up Krispy Kreme and you're just going to town. And I think that is the wrong mindset to have when it comes to trying to live a healthier lifestyle. And what I try to tell drivers is, let's look at it as a spectrum. And on one end of the spectrum, you've got the healthiest diet, best workout program in the world. And on the other side is you don't move all day and you eat, Big Macs and Whoppers all day. And most people are probably somewhere in the middle, right? Maybe some closer to that healthy side, maybe some closer to that unhealthy side. But instead of saying, hey, if I want to start something, live a healthier life, I need to jump all the way over to that healthy end of the spectrum. Let's just focus on, some of the low-hanging fruit that's in anyone's life and just making 1 or 2 changes that just pushes the needle a little bit closer to that healthy side. And what I've found is that a lot of drivers can be really surprised what small changes done over a consistent period of time can do to their health, how they feel, weight loss, controlling their blood sugar if they're diabetic, and in just kind of all-around health.
Doctor, I do have a question. So for the Coca-Cola, the Dr. Pepper drinker out there, you're saying, hey, you don't have to go straight to water, straight to Gatorade Zero. You're saying that maybe it's the diet form?
Yeah. So I think I think that there's a couple of approaches you can take. So if you're drinking 10 sodas a day, let's just be ridiculous, but there are drivers out there who are doing this. Maybe step one is going to 8 sodas, right? And just slowly cutting that down, or going to 8 sodas and 2 diet Dr. Peppers, right? And I think that the transition there from, I think there's a stigma on diet sodas and aspartame, and I've looked into some of the research, and that's a topic for another conversation. But I think it's a great transition and a great period. I drink diet sodas. Rick, I saw you were drinking a diet Coke Zero. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that the biggest thing is when you're drinking those sodas that have 40 grams of sugar and 12 ounces, and they just keep stacking up, and it's just really hard to lose weight and control your diabetes if you're consuming that much sugar and that many calories just from your drinks.
And we talk about it. Just let me ask you a question, Dar. And I think some of the hard parts is about a driver, having been one, is you're sitting for such a long period of time, right? Exercise, and let me just tell you, the stress is unbelievable behind the wheel. And when you're done driving for 10 hours, you're worn out. You're exhausted, both mentally
drained,
and physically, because of the tension and the stress and all of that goes along with it. How is exercise possible? I mean, genuinely, how do you motivate yourself to get exercise in there?
Yeah, so, I think the first part is setting it up where you can do it anywhere, anytime. If you have to say, hey, I need to find a gym, okay, now I have to come up with my workout equipment or workout routine. I have to, like you said, find something that I can park my semi at. It's probably just not going to happen. But if you can set it up where, hey, I'm waiting for my next load, or I'm at the truck stop, or I've got 5 minutes left in my mandatory break, I'm going to do something, and you can just pull up. We have an app right on the driver's phone, or you just pull up in general, and you've got a different program.
All right, we're having a little delay there. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but we've got you delayed out. I don't know whose side that's on, but Dave, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We get him back on here. Producer, just put it back to Drive Safe Dave and myself. So Dave, some points that he made was this right here, is that anything you can do out there is better than nothing. And let me tell you something. When we get him back on here, he's going to talk a little bit about that, because it really is true, Dave. I mean, if you've got 30 minutes in which you can take that golf club out of your truck and swing it, you're gonna do more than if you just did nothing.
Yeah, if you just sat there and you got on your phone and you went to TikTok. Yeah, and I'm not saying anything bad about TikTok, but really what we're talking about, get out and walk around. I mean, the 30-minute break really is a couple of things that you should do, and I know we've been talking about it. We talked to the doctor before this. That 30-minute break is an opportunity to get your mind and your body, right? I mean, look, I know the TikTok frees your mind up, but that you got to free the body up too, and getting out, walking around, and doing those kinds of things makes a change. And I'll tell you right now, the little bitty moves, those steps he's talking about taking, are necessary in order to create a better move forward. Because if you don't do anything, you're not ever going to move forward.
And once you start doing that, I think it can start with one or two. Either it starts with exercise, or it starts with eating better. And that doesn't mean, and I like what the doctor said. He didn't say go all in. He said, you know what, do some baby steps. If you can cut those Cokes in half, boy, that's an amazing amount of sugar you just cut out of your body. Yeah. If you go to them truck stops, and I talked to him about this, I was like, doctor, but when drivers go to the truck stop, Dave, they have nothing but junk food to eat, and that's really not true. There's a lot of junk food out there, but can you make yourself eat less? When all of them have the Subway.
Yeah.
Instead of ordering the bread, order it around the lettuce.
Yeah, and you can make some good, and believe it or not, and we've talked about this, when you go in, you see the hot dogs and the fried things on the rollers. They're out in the middle. But if you look over, you'll usually find a small option of fruit. They'll have some other stuff up there. So, okay, doctor, we're glad we got you back. We know we dropped you. We were sitting here talking about creating new habits. Can you jump in on that?
Yeah, I think that it's like 80 of the things you do on a day-to-day basis are habit-based. And I think that there's a lot of really, from a health and fitness perspective, there's a lot of small habits that can be put into your day-to-day life that, like I said, push that needle a little bit closer to the healthy end of the spectrum, but doesn't change your day-to-day life that crazy. And so, an example of that was kind of what Rick mentioned there of, stop drinking your calories. Switch from zero, from drinking a bunch of soda to going to diet soda or other 0-calorie beverages, or get outside and go for a walk for 10 minutes, and finding just ways that you're making these small changes, and a lot of them are habit based, but you can just fit them into your day, and it's not flipping your whole day 180 over and changing everything at once.
So I'm gonna ask you, Doctor, real quick, and I'm gonna jump in. There's some, and I have the same issues. I have the same problems. There's some mental roadblocks that I have to get past. I'm just gonna tell you, how as a coach do you bust those mental roadblocks that I have personally, that I've developed over 55 years of living?
Those mental roadblocks, and I know you know this, are, man, I've been eating right for 3 days, for 2 days. I don't feel any better. I look the same. I mean, it's not working.
Yeah.
How do you get somebody through that? And I'm listening to you because I need that help as well.
Well, I think it's probably, I think you guys both would agree that most people know what they should be doing from an exercise and nutrition standpoint to lose weight, to feel better, and be on that healthier end of the spectrum. But for a lot of people, they're lacking that accountability. And also they're lacking that, having someone on their team that they can go to, ask questions, that can push them a little bit, like you said, and, honestly set goals and then go the next step and say, hey, you have these goals. Let's set expectations of, that 50 pounds didn't, you didn't put that 50 pounds on in the last month, so it's going to take a little bit longer for it to come off as well, right? And so I think the biggest thing is for having a coach is, building that relationship with each driver, and then being able to set those expectations and set goals based off of long-term, if it's, wanting to lose 20 pounds, if it's wanting to control diabetes, whatever that goal is, and then taking, setting another goal, which is, okay, if you're wanting to achieve that long-term goal, let's set an action-based goal. And, this is going to be something you have to consistently do. And let's find something that is realistic and fits into your day-to-day life that, might push you a little bit, but you can do it out on the road, and you can do it consistently. And then have someone to hold you accountable to that and be like, hey, Dave, you dropped the ball. Let's get back on the right path.
But, Doctor, what about the driver that's not working the normal hours? I understand most of them are off a little bit, right? My break, I'm ready to go at 3 in the morning. Are you telling me there's a coach for me that early in the morning?
Yeah, so everything is through an app, and it's, we've got 24/7 access. They can message a coach. We've got hours, and our workouts are not go on Zoom and it's a live call. The workouts are personalized to them. They click on it. We've got video and written instruction on exactly what to do. They follow along, and we've got programs they can do in their truck, outside of their truck, or at home, depending on where they prefer. And then we also personalize it to their current fitness level. So the workouts are available 24/7. It fits into your schedule, and then the coaching aspect is whenever you have questions, or we do a weekly check-in when we reach out, and we also have a community of our drivers that you can participate in. And I'm sure just as well as me, sometimes those Facebook communities are not the most positive environment for drivers. So we try to have a positive environment where drivers are encouraging each other.
Hey, so I'm out. Hold on. So I'm out. I'm doing my pre-trip right now. Do you have exercises built around my daily functionalities as a driver? I got to do a pre, I have to do a post. I might as well get another 20 minutes because it should take you 10 minutes to do that pre-trip. 15 minutes. So are you putting things involved in my job as well to make me, I'm already doing the job, and now I can get some exercise in as well?
Yeah, so the workouts are all around the truck. So if you're out of your truck doing the pre-trip and you say, hey, I got 10 minutes, let me open it up, We got something that you can do right there outside your truck. We give you all the exercise equipment you need. We give everyone a resistance band so they can easily store it in their truck. And from a safety perspective, they don't have a 20-pound dumbbell laying in the back of their truck if something crazy happens that's flying through the air during an accident or something like that. So we really just try to cut away as many barriers that have stopped drivers from exercising and eating healthy, as possible, and just make it as easy for them to get started. And I think that's the big key.
What do some of them look like? Rick's talking about them. You're talking about what do a couple of them look like? Because what a couple of the exercises look like, and also feed into how we get to some of this stuff. We want to find out about you and where
we're role playing here. So we wake up. We're in the truck. Right
now. What do we like? That's why we're out of our chairs.
Okay.
We're ready to get going today.
So we can go from push-ups, incline push-ups against your truck. We can do step-ups. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. There you go. Yeah. Step-ups on your truck, on the truck ladder where you're stepping up, stepping down. You're doing air squats outside your truck. If you want to get crazy, you can go do jog or walk around the truck. You can do a ton of resistance band exercises, attaching it to the truck, standing on the resistance band, doing a bunch of the stuff, and very similar exercises in the truck with, inclines against your bed if you've got a bunk, or doing sit to stands out in the back. And, I think the biggest thing that we are, trying to do is just show drivers it's possible. And you can do it in the environment you're already in, which is something that a lot of drivers don't have that mindset, because they think, hey, I need to go find a gym.
So exercise and fatigue, there's an obvious correlation to that. Talk to me about what that exercise does to maybe not make me as fatigued when I'm driving.
Yeah, there's a million benefits from exercise, short-term and long-term, but I think one of the things that I hear drivers say all the time is just within the first couple of days, I feel more energized. And I feel more alert. I feel locked in. I feel more. If they work out in the morning, they feel more awake throughout the day. And I think that especially when you look at some of the research, there is some correlation between driver fatigue and how fit that driver is. And they actually did a study where they looked at new drivers coming into the industry, and they found that if the driver had a BMI of over, I believe it was 30 or 35, that they had 50% higher chance of being involved in an accident in the first 2 years of driving. And so there is a correlation. And if you are not fit to drive and you're not, focusing on your health, you're not going to be as locked in behind the wheel as you could be. And I'm not saying if you're unhealthy, you're an unsafe driver, but what I'm saying is the healthier version of yourself is a safer driver.
That's a great point. And also, I just wanted to ask, when you exercise and you get this exercise a little bit and you do a little bit better, you sleep a little bit better, right? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm a horrible sleeper sometimes, and a lot of it has to do with by the end of the week when I've been at my desk for a long time or I haven't done a lot of activity, I don't sleep as well, or I'm under a lot of stress. I don't sleep as well as if I would the other way, correct?
100%. I think there's a correlation with sleep. There's a correlation of just how you feel and feeling less blah, and that goes into some of the nutrition changes as well. But I think it's kind of crazy how much of a all around effect that exercise can have, especially if you get into the habit of doing it.
Doctor, on Wednesday, I'm going to ask you maybe around 7:25ish. I'm going to ask you to try to join BCB Live, because we're going to have our gentleman from Loves on the show. And that gives him a chance to get ready, because, there's one problem out there is that, my goodness, to eat healthy, it's a little bit more expensive. If only, Dave, there was a way to get our drivers involved at some of these fuel places to perhaps team with somebody like yourself to get a discount for eating healthy.
Yeah, make it pay to make good choices. Right, and I think that hits everybody. If it hits in the pocketbook the right way, because everybody knows, and Doctor, you've heard this, it costs a lot of money to eat very healthy. It's very inexpensive to go to the dollar menu, right? I can go to the dollar menu.
Doctor, we eat cheap here, you can see.
We eat cheap, but our point is, it seems like it should be just the same. We should be able to be rewarded financially for going out and make good decisions as well.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, and I would love to talk to Loves or TA or anyone out there. And I think the biggest thing is, even what I've seen is, we've got truck stop guides that help drivers find the healthiest options out there. But when you go into a Loves, it's a scavenger hunt just to find those healthy options. And I think step one might be, hey, let's have a trucking fitness company section where we've got healthy options that they can go to and pick.
I like that.
It doesn't cost them anything, right? I think that's step one. And then we can talk about, hey, what can we do on our end to, reward drivers for picking those healthier options. I completely agree.
Yeah, and there's just ways out there that we all can get behind these drivers, because they need our support. There's, they've got to have healthier, they got to have better options out there. They've got to have people like yourselves, your company, that does a little coaching, does a little encouragement for them as well. And even the trucking companies, you know what? We have also got to get behind this cause to find a way to get our drivers a little bit healthier, because it's a fact. I mean, we are just an unhealthy market. We're unhealthy, all the way around we are, even inside the office. It just is.
We're not healthy in here either. We don't make great choices in here when we bring in.
In this profession, as a truck driver or anybody in logistics, you take this job home with you. And you just do, and the stress that goes around with it, and that, Mark, is even to the dispatcher behind the scene. When a driver just doesn't move for whatever reason, the shipper was closed, something happened, they inside don't feel good. They take that stress home. The driver as well is stressed out right there, because it's financially hurting them. It creates stress, and for many of us, when we stress, we eat, right?
Oh, yep.
We've got to find ways around that.
Yeah, and I completely agree, and that's what we're seeing on our end too, and that's why the first year and a half of our company was really focused on just the driver, and now from a cultural standpoint, and also just the whole industry, we're wanting to build out programs, and we're starting to build out programs for everyone under the umbrella of the supply chain, so we can all start speaking the same language, and from a supply chain trucking industry as a whole, we can start to make that cultural shift.
So, Doctor, and here we are. How do we get a hold of this app you're talking about? How do we get a hold of you, and how do we get a hold of this app? We want to know more about it. How do we find out?
All right.
On any social media, or you go to truckingfit.com. You can set up a call if you're a trucking company. You can work with your organization, or if you're an individual driver, you can sign up as well.
Truckingfit.com, correct?
Yep.
And if you're a driver out there, and talk to your company, get them behind this as well. They as well can look at truckingfit.com. What can we it's time to dance. What can we as an industry do? You know what, Mark? We got a light thing. It just starts flashing lights at us, and we made a rule.
No worries.
Whenever it happens, we got to dance. So no matter what. But here we go. Get behind what you're doing out there, Mark. Listen. We love what you're doing. We love the fact that you're out there taking care of our heroes. And those are our truck drivers, trying to find ways to make them healthier. I love your attitude. I love the way you're encouraging them. I like the way that you're not saying it's all in or nothing. You're not out there pounding your chest and yelling at them. Come on, loser. You're not eating them chips. I love what you're doing out there. Hey, Doctor, thank you for being on the show. I'm going to send you a link for Wednesday if you can get on. We're going to have a little heart-to-heart with Loves. We've got him in here. We might as well take advantage of that. Before we get out of here, go ahead one more time, introduce your company, and then we're going to ask you to state your name. And you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Yeah, so my name's Dr. Mark Manera. I'm the founder and CEO of the Trucking Fitness Company, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest nation. Oh my gosh, the safest station in the nation. And after those push-ups, soon to be the healthiest station in the nation.
Oh, there you go. Thank you very much.
He renamed us. I like it. Hey, Doctor, thanks a lot. Be safe out there, and thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Drive safe, Dave. Just an amazing again, it's folks like that we haven't seen like this. You talk about technology, how we can use technology to not only make our business safer, our industry safer out there on the roads, but now to find ways to help you stay a little bit healthier.
I did like a lot the fact, a couple of great points that he made, and the fact that he was more about being a coach than anything else, that one-on-one, that about helping to improve you and your lifestyle and what you do, just coaching you up, not trying to judge you, not trying to do, but coach you to a better way. And I really dig that about Dr. Mark, and I think it's a cool aspect, and I do like the challenge you put on him to talk to Loves. I'm ready. I think Jernigan.
I think it's good. Well, so, you know what, Jernigan, if you're watching this, get ready for that. Hey, coming up next, he's no doctor, but he is our very own Double Check Dale, giving us a little weather. Coming up next on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility Pro Wear. Utility Pro Wear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility Pro Wear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityprowear.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount. This segment has been brought to you by Utility Pro Wear. Utility Pro Wear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility Pro Wear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityprowear.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We're going to talk a little bit of weather right now. Hey, the winds have been, really the story for most of the month. Today, we're going to get a little bit more of a reprieve from them. Right now, not too much going on, but if we go into the later afternoon, we are going to see the winds start to pick up out in the New Mexico area, parts of central Texas. They'll start getting a little bit stronger. And then by 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, 8 o'clock, most New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, are going to see some stronger winds and some gusts up into the 30s and into the 40s. They start dying down and laying down overnight. So, overnight hours are going to be pretty decent. It's just going to be afternoon where we're going to start seeing those winds pick up a lot stronger gusts. As far as rain and accumulation, rain and thunder goes, currently, let's just ahead just a little bit. Currently, we have some pretty strong storms in south Oklahoma, northern Texas. Really strong storm right there on that Red River, right along the Oklahoma-Texas border. And then up into Kansas, we're seeing really only about 55%.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility Pro Wear. Utility Pro Wear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility Pro Wear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount. This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI-certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
All right, so we have a little bit of rain coming up in that Texas area. Get ready for it. Use your apps. Now, here's what I'm going to say. Take the time to get to know these different apps. You have windy.com, you have, Weather Channel, all of these things at your hands. You know what? You don't have to hear Dale say it if you use it yourself as well. And I just want to remind you that it is so critical that you get up and you use these apps yourself. Because, an hour after Dale says it, heck, 30 minutes, 20 minutes after he says it, it's old news. Something else is going on. Use these apps, and some tricks around this too. When you use that app in the morning, you're using windy.com, the Weather Channel, whatever it is you use, should you just be concerned about where you are right now?
No, you should probably plan ahead to the cities that you're going to and kind of lay out your day, look ahead, see what's going on with it. Like I said, all the phones have such great weather apps on them. I always plug in the major cities I'm going to go through, and that way it pulls that weather up for them, and you can look for what's happening later in the day and kind of watch it as it changes throughout the day because, man, that chance of precipitation here in Texas has changed every hour. It seems like who's going to get it and how much. So
some of the apps do a great job of forecasting well into the future. So you can, you're going to be 500 miles from where you are right now. You have an opportunity to roll that forward 10 hours and see what the weather's going to be like in 10 hours to where you're headed. So some of the apps look at now, some of them look at current radar, but some of them have a great opportunity. I think Windy, the one we use a lot of, does allow you to move way into the future, almost a week out. So you see where you're at, what's going on.
All right. What do we got going on today, sir?
Today we're talking about realities of fatalities, about truck accidents. Just too many fatalities out there. I mean, the Texas streak, we've got to end that. But, occupants, they're the person that's most likely to die in a truck accident. 68% of occupants of other vehicles are killed in truck accidents. So if it's a two-vehicle accident with a truck and another vehicle, the occupant of the other vehicle is going to die 68% of the time. 30% of the occupants are in the truck. So, truck drivers don't necessarily die as often, but 30% of fatalities are still in trucks. So that's a lot of it. If we just prevent the accidents, do what's safe, then we don't have the fatalities.
Yep. It's, great points on all that. Drive safe. What do you have to add on that?
I'll tell you that a lot of the times in these accidents, these smaller weighted vehicles, these four-wheelers and these smaller weighted vehicles, they stand a little chance against the big trucks. We've got to do our part in concern. Look, we understand how four-wheelers drive around big trucks without much concern or regard to that difference in weight and difficulty. But we've got to do our fair share of making sure that we do everything that we can to avoid the accident altogether. I'll tell you, it is a tough thing behind the wheel, and I do ask that each of you. We got the light going on. I do ask, new rule, dance rule going on. And that's our new weight loss program here. But, the seatbelt is primary, and it can help save lives of both you and the person in the other car. Just wear the seatbelt, I think, will also help a great deal.
Anyways, we're going into some films right now, and this is our chance to always learn again off of other people's film, off of other circumstances. Take time to watch these and apply them to what you're going to see multiple times today alone. Here we go.
Here we got intersections are dangerous, what not to do in a big truck.
Yeah, this is part one. And so we're going to watch this up ahead in the intersection. And unbelievable, this truck's making a U-turn in the intersection. no company, no trucking company says, hey, that's okay. Yeah. It is never okay to make a U-turn in a big truck out on a public road.
I mean, impressive, right? I mean, not recommended at all.
No,
probably illegal, Dave. I mean,
yeah,
it's,
well,
you block so many lanes of traffic, you obstruct the view of others. It's just, and if you don't make it, it's just ugly.
Let me tell you, you don't do this right here, especially. I mean, this is a pretty busy. I mean, there's cars everywhere on this. This is how cars do a run under the side. This is where fatalities happen. Intersections are dangerous. You can't pull this stunt off. Don't do it. Yes, he was successful, or the driver was, but it's not recommended. You know what? Great video here. Thank you for showing that. And wow, what not to do.
Yeah. Dave, you're speechless on that one.
Yeah, I'm good. You know what? Go up, turn around. You know what? So you know, you got a couple of left turns. You're right back where you started. Just be careful. I mean, this right here is just not the best play.
You're probably late already. You know, so just be a little later, but don't kill anybody. Don't get into an accident. Don't hit a pole. Don't do anything else that happens when you make moves like this. And then also, don't forget, our industry, we've got to make it better. We want our image better. With all of these cars around, I can assure you, we weren't the only one that took a picture of this. You know, so there we go. So what do we got next?
Next, we got Intersections Are Dangerous Part 2.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, this one, you know, we see this a lot. Red light coming up, driver, and this one does a great job, but guess what? Four-wheeler. I mean, that's
I'm done. I'm done. Come on, how much redder do you got to be? I mean, can you get any more red than that?
No, he just
it's just fatalities.
It's
I mean,
red,
because
I'm gonna stop.
It's wet. It's red. It's a bad situation.
Can I give you my opinion on this? This is somebody that possibly runs this area every day in the four-wheeler, and the lights are timed. And he or the driver of the four-wheeler probably assumed it's getting ready to turn green and just kept on going. The timing of intersections are bad. Don't get into that habit.
Never
you know what?
Hit the brake.
No, I feel like he was
never touched the brake. No way. This guy.
That's around here.
And as he drives alongside this truck, his vision is blocked. He really can't see.
Is that Boyd running the red light?
I don't know. Is that Boyd?
Yeah,
is that you? Was that you? Don't do it.
That was me on my way to work yesterday. Next, we're going to have watch that left-hand turn.
Yeah, I mean, we watch this. There's a couple turn lanes here. And if you're in a big truck, you have to be aware of what lane you're in.
Is that the same truck? Is that the same truck? That's the same truck.
Go back to video one. Let's look at that.
That's the same truck.
I feel like the first video had a red truck. Let's go back to that first video. We
a
got some up.
Go to the first video.
They are McDonald's
That's
truck.
the same dude. That guy's running havoc. That's the same truck.
Somebody, this video's got to get to this company right here. This person right here, let me tell you, we should follow this driver around for a day, and all you're going to see is things you shouldn't do as a driver.
That's the same truck.
It's the same one. Go to the current one. Here we go.
But as he's turning, I mean, not paying attention to how or where he's turning at, and starts way too soon, and just about runs over the hood of the adjoining truck. So you have to be aware of it. Get out in that intersection.
And here's our point again on this, Dave, is the driver did a U-turn in that first video, and here it is right here. He's, right next to us still, and we were 6 cars deep. That video that took the picture was 6 cars deep and caught up to him anyway. You don't gain the time you think. That's what I'm trying to say. When you make that U-turn like he did, you do not make up the time that you think. And here it is again.
Why would you cut that truck? Hey, unless you want to squeeze them out so that you can take the left lane. That doesn't even make sense. I'm confused by all of this. This guy's wreaking havoc in the neighborhood. I don't think he has a delivery. I think he's just driving around like a maniac.
Ba-da-bum-bum-bum.
He's succeeding at the maniac part.
Next, we got don't crowd a turning vehicle.
I thought it was him again.
Not a McDonald's truck this time. But again, we talk a lot about, packing your patience and everything. As you see a turning vehicle, allow them that space. How many times do they hit that brakes and you're way too close behind them? Just give them the space that they deserve. Back off a little bit.
Is this just a bad habit? I mean, what are we thinking on this video?
You're timing it out. The truck's turning in. You think you've got plenty of time. And let me just tell you, if that truck stops altogether, you're hitting the back of that truck. If he if a pedestrian steps in front of that pickup, what happens is now you run into the back of that truck and it continues on to hit the pedestrian. You're creating a bad environment here. You've got to slow down. You've got to give them the time. They respect them too. Respect their time. Respect their turn. Do everything you can to protect them if you can.
Yeah, so many things that we see when we watch these videos, whether we're passing somebody on the left on a highway or this, is that in our industry, it seems like we're the habits that we talk about are these timing habits. When we're trying to time it perfectly so we don't have to put our foot on the brakes, so we don't have to slow down. If everything goes fine, I should be able to pass him just fine and get so close and get in the left-hand lane later on. These are habits that we just have to stop, because when you hit these vehicles, it was never worth it.
Nope.
You've got to just slow down today. Like right now, start slowing down. Let him enter in that parking lot.
Next, we've got a questionable lane change.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we just can't wait till the last minute. You have to be prepared for make your turns and everything. And the driver in this one just waits that last second to cut over to make this change. You know, if we're in a hurry when we do that, do we have time to check our mirrors? Are we checking our mirrors, catching the blind spot and everything? So be prepared for your intersections and your corners. Get in your lane early so you don't have to cut over till at the very last second.
And I'm going to suggest, if you're running bobtail, I get it, but if you're running a trailer, it might be ideal to go out and then turn left instead of squeezing underneath this UE under the bridge. I'm just saying they're not really designed for big trucks, these UEs. They're not, and you'll end up rubbing curbs, popping tires. You'll end up doing a lot to the trailers and the trailer tires. Look how, it just makes it really difficult. They weren't really designed for big trucks. Go out, do the turn in the intersection, then do the other turn. Get the wider turn. It's just a whole lot safer, and it's a lot better on the equipment.
Next, we've got four-wheeler got to go right all the way over.
You know, and we see this so many times where we see a four-wheeler just got from the right lane all the way over. If you notice, he's going to actually go over to a lane that's ending. I mean, this is a merge lane, and you see the sign that lane ends. It goes all the way over to there just to try picking up a little bit of time. It's just not worth it. I mean, look how many lanes he changes. Can't see that he doesn't have good vision of what's coming up alongside him.
From the hammer to the closed lane, just to jockey in and use that as an opportunity to advance his position. It's not what we want to do. It happens every day. I know everyone out there sees that in the truck, sees stuff going like this going on. You just got to stay back and be very well aware of what's happening.
Yeah, we don't like these moves at all, but we expect them in the big truck, and that's why we have the Class A. That's the difference between us and them. We don't want to be like them. Very rare. We want to create it. It is your road. This highway is owned by the big truck. Expect these folks to do it. They're going to cut in front of you. They're going to go from, like Drive Safe said, from the left all the way to the lane that's disappearing. You know, we don't understand it. We don't get it, but they don't do it for a living. We do. And we want to make sure that we are the greatest stewards of the highway, any roadway.
And we got two more videos. This next one's going to be owning and keeping your space.
You know, this is a good one. Lots of traffic going on. I mean, Jersey Wall on the right. You got big truck on the right. The driver here is, doing a very good job of keeping the space. Even when this four-wheeler jumps over in front of him, backs off a little bit. So just, recognizing that the space in front of you is your out and keeping that space.
I do like this. And there's a lot more to this than I believe what happens. I believe the truck driver decided not to run alongside the flatbedder in this high traffic area, just basically kept back a little bit and didn't put himself in that position around this high traffic area. I think the driver did a good job coming in and then said, look, I can't get beyond the truck, so I'm going to hold back a second. And when he did that, another vehicle pulled in. But I will tell you, I think the driver did a great job.
Yeah, that's a skilled driver right here in the middle lane.
Correct.
Recognizing the situational awareness that it's not going to do any of us any good to be next to each other. I'm going to give you the space. You're right there. You're in that right lane. You may need to get in front of me anyway coming up. I'm going to back off right now. Great job, great decision. Those are the leaders we need on the road. Phenomenal job.
Our last video is called Get Out and Look.
Oh, we know what we're going to talk about here. And we talk about getting out and look, backing accidents, the most frequent accident out there. When you get in someplace and you're getting ready to back up, you've got to get out and look. You've got to familiarize yourself with the surroundings around you, where the truck's in front of you, alongside of you. everything like that. So we see this truck pulling in, setting up to back up, and we'll notice that does not get out and look at all. Sorry, it's a minute-long video, but just have to take that time to get familiar with your surroundings. Know where that truck is on the other side. Here we go, dance. And the driver doesn't. Let's watch us see what happens right here. And it's not pretty, folks, because he's going to take the back of his truck right into another trailer. Stop pretty short. Now we see the trailer shake a little bit. So the back of this driver's just ruined the back of his sleeper and his cab on that by not getting out. Focuses so much on what's going on his left-hand side and forgets to keep track of what's going on the right. If you get out and look first, it kind of puts it in your brain a little bit. Hey, I've got that row of trucks over there. I've got to remember to keep watching that also.
Yeah, when we talk about get out and look, and that's the last video, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's just bring it back to the studio here. Drive safe. I want you to talk about that because we're in a parking area right now. When we talk about getting out and looking, is that something that should be done no matter where you are, even at a drop lot?
Absolutely. I mean, it's your opportunity to get out and survey the situation. I tell you what, you have a much better idea of where you're at and where your truck sets up. Look, we all know how our truck spins, what the radius is, especially you get a chance to look at where your tandems are before you back up, and you get to set yourself up successfully. Also, if there's any obstacle or anything like that, you already know where you can and can't fit. It's like whiskers on a cat. When you get out and you look, you know where you're going to be able to fit into and when you're not going to be able to fit into. This guy was in a hurry, set himself up incorrectly, and just decided to try to squeeze it and therefore pay the price. I will suggest that if you're close by and in that situation as you get close, just blow the horn, get out and walk up and see if you can't help them move into the position. Be that person also to help them guide in. Right now, I can tell you what, this driver's frustrated now. The one that just hit the trailer, this guy's frustrated, or gal is very frustrated. Do what you can to help ease the situation because right now they're not making really good decisions, obviously, and they're very, very embarrassed, very upset, and they may even make another bad decision. And do what you can to help them out.
Yeah, and I will say, I talked to the driver that sent this video in. He gave me a call, and he did say, as I'm watching this set up, he says, "I'm blowing my hair horn. I'm trying to get his attention and everything, but just didn't stop." I mean, so many times the driver was focused on backing up and very much on what was going on his left-hand side and not watching his surroundings.
So when you're backing up, and I want to stick to this for a second because we spend a little bit of time talking about get out and look goal, and we probably need to spend some other things, Drive Safe Dave, when you're backing that truck up. You mentioned the driver blowing the air horn. If you have your stereo blast and everything, there's some things you should do when you're backing up as well to make sure you're hearing, what your other folks are trying to help you out as well, right?
Absolutely. I always suggest that you pull the window down when you're backing up. Not for that, but if somebody shouts out, cries out, hollers out, hey! You have a better opportunity to hear that, something so simple. They may not have the air horn. The air horn absolutely helps, but you want to be able to hear for somebody crying for help.
Turn that stereo down.
Yeah,
right?
Turn it down. Make sure that you can hear what's going on. I understand if it's pouring down rain or if the snow's blowing in the window. We're talking about that's an exception. We're talking about exceptions, but we're talking about if it's a little cool, it's okay. If it's a little hot, it's okay. It's just for a minute, but it helps save yourself a lot of heartache if you can hear anybody in the outside hollering out. Also, you know what? If you take the steps that you normally do, you're going to have a lot greater success in backing up. If you got out and looked here in this situation and you do it every time, you're going to set yourself up for success each and every time. And that's part of that routine, that habit that you create. And that window has always been a habit that I've always created, just to kick the window down and look and listen, because you never know. Somebody will holler out.
Yeah, you just want to take away all the distractions you can. Turn the phone off, turn the radio off, get it quiet, so you're focused on the task at hand, backing up. But like I said, first thing you got to do is you've got to get out and look. You've got to familiarize yourself with the surroundings so it's in your forehead what's all around you.
Great show today. Listen, exercise a little bit more. If you're drinking 2 or 3 or 4 sodas a day, we're talking about the leaded ones. Hey, reduce it by half, by 1. Just do anything to make it a little healthier out there. It's important that we do this. You know what? Our industry, you as a truck driver, it's tough. We've got a lot of bad habits that created. It's easier to eat a bag of chips than it is a thing of grapes. It just is. Carrots, yes. It's not this. We've got to just make baby steps. Maybe it's a half a bag of chips and carrots. Whatever you can do to improve your health, listen, we owe it to you to help get you behind this as well. But you got to make that decision yourself. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. Just to ask you to continue to watch over these drivers and find a way to allow them to get a little bit healthier, and us as well on our side, and work together on just adding a little bit more health to our life. Continue to bless us, watch over us, to keep us safe on the roadway. Help us be the leaders that you need us to be, and be the leaders that our industry needs us to be. Thank you for all these heroes out there on the road. Get them back home safe to their families, back to their trucking companies as well. In your son's name we pray. Amen. This is BCB Live, safest station of the nation. We'll see you tomorrow morning.